Alright, so we're opening the Discord up again, right? So if you missed it the first time for the first 6 hours, we're gonna basically open it up for a good chunk of time this time, and essentially it'll be open for a little bit more longer than a basic 6 hours. So if you haven't gotten into the Discord, jump in right now because it is nice over there. It is weird to have a bunch of people in the community in one place and actually be able to see what people talk about and stuff like that. It's actually really nice, and it feels like actually have people to chat to, and it's just beautiful. Honestly, it absolutely is. But when it comes down to it though, join up on the Discord so we can all have a nice time together. But when it comes down to it though, I do want to talk about game shows, or at least not game shows in particular, like The Price is Right, not like that. But I do want to talk about showcasing the games that we get, the gaming showcases, really essentially things like E3s, well, before it died, Gamescom, your Game Awards, things like that, right? I want to talk about it because we just got done with Gamescom, and I'm not gonna lie, that 2 hour and 30 was by far one of the most boring ass 2 hours and 30 minutes I think I've ever spent on anything ever, right? Now, I'm gonna say this too, and just be able to preface this before we really get into it. If you have a game that was showcased there and you very much was hyped for it and you ready for it, like this small little bit of Silk Song that people were very much ready to see something new of, like, good for you, genuinely happy for you. But for me, there really wasn't anything there of to note that really mattered, honestly, for me to sit there and watch. Like, I really just didn't care whatsoever when it comes down to what we were actually witnessing and seeing and stuff like that, because half of the games was like stuff I don't care about, and then the other half was basically shooter games, which, damn, how many shooter games do you need in one damn time to showcase at one damn point, right? If you took off literally so many of those shooter games, I promise you that the show would go down from 2 hours and 30 minutes to basically a whole ass like hour and 30, and maybe even less than that, because that's what it feels like. And this is again why, and I think I said this in one of my reactions before, but this is why I said before, when it comes down to certain companies, especially Focus. If you've seen the Focus logo comes up, the dev Focus of the logo of the Focus devs or whatever, you already know it's a shooting game, and you already know it's time to ground. That's how it feels for me. It was just so many damn shooting games to the point it was ridiculous. Like, you got Call of Duty, you got Delta Force, which all right, sure. Then you get like another game, and then another game where you shoot ghosts or whatever. Then this other game from South Korea that's gonna be doing some shooting, and another game, and another game. It's like, how many shooting games do you need? There is so much shit that's there that honestly I don't really care about. And then some of them, or at least one of them I saw, was live service as hell, and you can just straight up feel the Concord slight DNA that's within that game. It may not be exactly that, but you can feel like, yeah, no, I don't think anybody really gonna sit here and care. Which makes me also wonder, why do people continue to try to make these live service games with shooting in it and thinking that it's gonna absolutely kick ass? Because high key, that market is not really going to be an easy one to break into, and there's already a lot of competition that's basically out there that you can still play and have a fun time with, and that's just how it is. But ultimately, people are just not really just, I guess, like, it's not really, it's gonna be hard to kind of change into a different shooting game, I would say. That's kind of what it is. But the point is though, there's just a lot of stuff in there that I really did not care about whatsoever, right? That's just how it was. And the very few things I have a slight care for, like, yeah, sure, that another Black Myth Wukong, not Wukong, but Black Myth game that's gonna come through, and they showing a little bit of that at the end. Cool, but I didn't get a chance to play the first one, so not really too much like excited for it. Then you got something like Sonic Lost Worlds, not Lost Worlds, but the Cross Worlds bullshit, and it's like, sure, Pac-Man's cool, but again, not really the game I'm really looking for. Cool that it is what it is, but still not what I'm really particularly in the taste for when it comes down to it, right? And that's just how that goes. And then you could very much say the same thing with, you know, neverness to everness. Amazing that we got to see it again. It's nice to see it again. It's lovely. It's a game I'm very much excited for to actually play. The only issue with that is we already know it's not going to have a release date here because it's still too early in development, or at least not early in development, but it's still not far along in development to blast us with a release date. And you know what they said? Wish list. It means it's coming soon, but not soon enough to give us a release date as to when that whole thing is going to happen, right? That's just how it is. And they just did like a closed beta, in-person closed beta or whatever. No, not even in person. I think it was just a regular closed beta. They did a closed beta of that game not too long ago. So of course we're not going to see it anytime soon right now. Maybe early 2026, but that's really about it. And that's still a yonder path a way to go, honestly. So not really overly hyped over that, you know, because again, we gotta wait still, you know. But when it comes down to it though, that's kind of it, you know. I was hoping maybe Genshin would pop up here in some shape and form, maybe give a little bit more of a teaser to Nah Cry, which I thought that's what they said they were gonna do for Gamescom, or maybe I misread that somewhere or something like that, or you know, maybe they'll do something with Xbox's thing tomorrow if that's what they're gonna do. I don't know, or however they gonna do whatever. Granted, it's just in just a week's time we will see, you know, the Nah Cry live stream for 6.0, so I'm not tripping that hard for it. But still, you know, it's just like there's not really much of anything that was there to kind of like get excited for, at least for me when it comes down to it. There was also like some new gacha games that look like they're coming out and they look okay. Don't really have a incentive to want to go and just play them particularly, but still, you know, it's fine that they exist. That's cool, but that's really about it. But the whole point is, when it comes down to these showcases and whatever, a lot of the time they feel like they're just a giant waste of time. I'm not saying every video game needs to cater to me and what I want to see, but it'll be nice to see something that's like, you know, maybe coming closer than what I think, or something that we can get an update on for some game that could be coming in the very near future or something like that. Just something in general that's going to get me excited. And that's a lot of these Jeff Keighley events when it comes to me particularly, because a lot of these events you don't really get much of anything, or at least I don't get much of anything out of them. I kind of just watch it just to have a good time, have something to watch, and that's basically kind of it. There's not many times where I watch it and just be like, oh yeah, this absolutely slapped. Not really. Not really. Now, some of the old events, you know, like I want to say 2019, whenever Joker got into Smash, that was amazing. That was peak. That was amazing and cool, you know. But then every year from that point forward, felt like there wasn't much of a slapper that was there. Yeah, sure, maybe Final Fantasy VII's whole, you know, Rebirth whole last announcement. That's cool, but that's not really much of anything else added to these events. Hardly do I get excited for it. Sonic Frontiers, maybe, sure, but that's like one game out of like a ton of other announcements that's coming through that ultimately we're not seeing much about, or at least there's things that's there that's something I don't really care too much for, and that's just kind of how it is, right? So, you know, that's just what it feels like to me. And then when you really want something really big, Amy, like really big, that you know you're for sure that you're gonna get into, you know, you really want to see it pop up at some point in time, but it just doesn't come through. Kingdom Hearts 4 is obviously one of the more bigger missing games that we haven't really seen at all when it comes down to it. We've only seen it once, and that was literally it. And then they said screenshots because damage control, and that was basically how that kind of went. And it's a bit unfortunate that we haven't seen that whatsoever. Now, granted, we do have a shot to see it at Tokyo Game Show next month, but realistically, is it going to be there? Who really knows? And granted, it probably would have a better chance to pop up there than anything else, but we don't necessarily know. They could very much cheese the last part of FS7, you know, project, and that's just how it is. And if that happens, I'll be kind of upset, because at the same time, it's like, damn, we've been seeing a lot of FF7, and Kingdom Hearts has been relatively quiet, has a dead game now with Missing Link, and Kingdom Hearts 4 is basically missing in action for so damn long. to the point where it's just like, bro, does the game even exist anymore? That's kind of what it feels like when it comes down to it. And then you just keep watching these showcases and watching more of these showcases to see if, maybe a major game like that will be there, or a game that you in particular would absolutely want to go get, would that be there? And ultimately, you were just waiting to see something happen, and it just doesn't. And it feels like a waste of time, high key, right? It genuinely does. Now, granted, if I had the capabilities to stream that junk, I absolutely would. Which I did see some people in the Discord did say, "Yo, did you want to stream or something?" If I had the ability to, if I had the money, high key. This is why you need to subscribe to the channel and blow the channel up as much as possible. But when it comes down to it, if I had the money, for sure we would have streamed this, and we would have reacted to this completely without question and all that sort of stuff. We would have absolutely done that. But again, don't have that capabilities right now because of lack of money. But when it comes down to it though, it's just like, yo, very much so, a lot of these games are just stuff I don't really care for, right? That's just kind of how it is. But ultimately though, I just want to see something that's exciting for me. That's just kind of what it is. And really that's what most of these showcases are. You want to see something exciting for you. And there's not really much excitement there to be had for anything. Because like a lot of these major games like Resident Evil 9, Monster Hunter Wilds, and a lot of these other games that pretty much people can be like, okay, I can see myself playing that. I don't. I'm not really in particularly a big person that likes to play a lot of these other types of games, high key, or at least in terms of like, I'll play them, but at the same time it's not like I'm overly hyped for them. Like mainly I would say my wheelhouse is probably about 3 different things. Maybe it's JRPGs, an open world of some kind, and a fighting game. That's a small ass world, but you would still expect to see maybe something here, and here, right? And you would think you would see something, but that's just not what is the dang case when it comes down to it. And again, there is some sleeper games that be looking mad nice, like a Phantom Blade Zero, and some other and I think like one other samurai game that's not Ghost of Yotei, not Onimusha. There was something else that was pretty damn fire that looked good, but I can't remember what the name of the game was. But still, there's some games out there that's just like, yeah, I'll pick it up and try it, or if I can, I'll go get it and try it, and then it might be a good experience. But still, a lot of games ain't like that for me, or at least I'm not willing to jump into the rabbit hole of a lot of this stuff that they want to show off and just be like, oh yeah, I gotta taste this, I gotta eat this, I gotta smack that. Not really feeling it for a lot of this stuff. And really for a lot of Jeff Keighley events, again, a lot of the time it's like you get one good thing and then that's it. That's basically it for you, the entire showcase, which is, in my particular terms of how I feel, a bit ass, if I'm gonna be real. But that's really, I guess, what I wanted to talk about. Just kind of bored of showcases. Like, I'm hyped when a showcase comes through. I'm excited when they want to say a state of play or a Nintendo Direct or whatever likes to come through. I'm excited for those. But at the same time, I'm not really excited at the idea that a lot of the games are things that is repetitive of another game, and in the very same time it's going to be just showcasing stuff that me in particular don't really care too much about. Again, if you have something there that you care about, absolutely cool. But for me, that's not really anything I'm here for to see, right? That just is what it is. But yeah, I guess that's really, again, all I wanted to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification on your way out. And also, if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And once again, the Discord is open yet again. Just go ahead and click the link in the comment, and you'll be going ahead to be in the Discord. Join up with the peoples and have a nice little time and be doing what you need to do, but also be considerate of the people that's also there. So that's all I gotta say when it comes down to that. And until then, it's been Boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day.